a man walking north to a town he came from. Down the highway, started from the burning sun. So 20 million churches, arms waving in the air. And a seething prostitute said she once had a kill. And all the little children that dance in the grass. Inside the nation, that would be the last. There ain't gonna be no kings, you won't wanna sit and sail. When the heroes run like rats from the ship. Woke up this morning and I went for the sight of your eyes and the kiss. Don't know how you feel, but with the moon falling down, I'd like to spend the rest of my life in your road. Hate to pumpkin pie, it's Halloween outside, you got some in your eye. Better go across the room, smile at me, ignore all my woes, and a bathroom stall. No other place other more. Talk about romance movie, and the ones that I might love. I lied about all the world that I told your friend. You're still on my mind. That train never left, and everything I needed is gonna go away, and everything I wanted will never stay. It's like a Halloween costume, it doesn't down. Every good thing must come to an end.
And I think we are up. What's up, everyone? Bing! Countdown done. Welcome to NFGL Live. I'm Chris, and this is NFGL Live. Going to be playing some games. Boy, howdy are we. So, previously we were playing through some Metal Dungeon on the Xbox, and I started thinking, this game kind of sucks. At the very least, it's very boring to play. And I was very much contemplating, is this worth actually my time to play and enjoy? Am I a Star Control freak? Ah, haha, welcome Sam to the stream. And perhaps I'll turn to a Star Control freak when we start on Star Control 2 on the 3DO. Ha! Ah! It shall be great. This was based on doing a little bit of a sample with Sam when he was around at some point, and noticed that it was a really fun game, and this is what fun games feel like. So we're going to kind of do that, and we're going to use our awesome digital arcade stick for my 3DO, and we're just going to enjoy the whole experience. So let's just pop it in, see what happens. Goodness gracious. Boop, boop, scoop, bop. There we go. There we go. And we have some buble. We got a mango flavor? Yeah. There it is. There it is. Good old 3DO. But yeah, so Star Control 2 is like a space sim RPG kind of game. You have some overworld traversal and travel you do through space. Yeah, it's very much like old school RPGs like Wasteland or no, Baldur's Gate did as much, but kind of hitting certain points on maps to get dialogue trees and boxes to get quests or other kinds of tasks to do, and you do them. And I don't know if you get experience necessarily in this game, but you certainly get income as part of the economy to upgrade your ship and such. So that seems to be all part of what's going on here in Star Control 2.
The people of Earth now travel between the stars.
And it's very possible I will have to refer to the instruction book a bit, just because I haven't played this very much at all. But it actually seemed surprisingly approachable when I started it up with Sam. Particularly, I was expecting this to be a very hardcore sim kind of game, something that I would just not find very approachable. Turns out, not the worst game to play, not that hard to really just jump into. So here we are. That's what we're gonna do. And we're gonna kind of let the cinematic go a little bit. But you have real-time combat. You have space traversal. You have things for the number of the amount of crew you have, so you can explore planets, gain minerals. I assume other things in the game, as well as fuel for your actual ship to travel, and all of that. And yeah, it feels like there's a lot you can do in this game, but I feel like it's sort of separate out into phases that make it very approachable to tackle and enjoyable to sort of play with. But yeah, certainly this is one of those games that intimidated me just from the scale it sounded like that it had. We'll see if that carries over. Maybe, maybe not. But I think it might be very reasonable to play, especially for a soft-brained person like me. Yeah? Someone who needs is easier games.
Yet that must be enough. Because you must pilot the vessel.
Also, let's give it up to some 3DO cinematics here, man. I'm gonna try to save Earth. Let's go, boys.
Fight for Earth and the Alliance as well as you can.
Oh yeah, lots of stuff here. These are the whole thing about hyperspace and how that is of a different animal. So we have new game, we can load a game. We also have Super Melee, which is kind of like a single player battle practice sort of thing where you can just kind of jump into doing the ship combat. We're going to go to a new game here. So we're going to do a brand new game. And let's see, I think it's with B. I can switch the type of action I want to do. Draw a star map right now. That's our star map. And I can see here navigate, which is going to be pressing A. And with the story here, I'm kind of trying to go back to Earth. See what happened to Earth. So we're going to just jump right on in there. I do have some directional control I can use later. But, you know, right now, we're starting simple. Getting all up in that planetary business. Ooh, excuse me.
Attention, interloper.
Oh my god.
Heed this recorded message. This drone vessel speaks with the voice and authority of Urquan. You are trespassing within Urquan space. This world, Earth, may
I did get a
not
haircut.
be approached for
I actually cut my own
any
hair
reason.
because I didn't have time to really get to a
Hostilities
hairdresser.
against our orbital
So, a little bit of
platform
Norelco
be
action.
tolerated.
Try to do a little bit of a fade in
addition,
the back and kind of
your
score up the back.
ship does not respond to standard hierarchy identification.
You know, I just kind of get tired of
transmissions.
hair flopping around.
Is
Can't do the
therefore
long hair.
deemed to be independent. This is not permissible. Only subservience shall
These guys are
be
kinda jerks.
tolerated. This drone now leaves to inform the Urquan of your transgressions. You are commanded to remain here and await the arrival of the Urquan. Disobedience will be punished.
Dang, I think I'm gonna be a little disobedient then. I don't give a rip about your punishments. And again, I can press B or don't already do anything here. Star map. That don't matter. Just navigate. And we press A a little more to kind of go a little bit faster, but we're gonna hit the moon first here. And so when you hit a planet, you have a couple different things you can do. You can do a scan. So you do a scan. And you can auto scan for different types of things. You can navigate away. You can auto scan. You can just launch a lander on the planet. You can do a mineral scan, an energy scan, or a bio scan. I'm going to do auto scan. There's some biological life. Send a lander right there. You just hold A to sort of move it around. Getting some good minerals. We're gonna go ahead and see if we can get to. There's like a few more mineral spots here that I think there's some energy of some kind. I'm gonna check out that energy signature. Am I full? I might be full of minerals. Installation must have been abandoned many years ago, but great care has been taken to make it appear active. Generators are at full output, and robotic construction vehicles have been programmed to roam the lunar surface, bulldozing space dust to the moon dust and random piles. There's some kind of alert or mayday broadcast. Perfect. Let's do that. Lots of good stuff there. We're gonna go to exit in this menu. We can look at cargo here. See, we have a lot of base metals. That's a lot of what we just collected. I don't know what I just did there, so I'm not gonna do that again. Let's go ahead and navigate. We're gonna go ahead and go to this little space station here.
Attention, unidentified space vessel. I am Starbase Commander Hayes of the slave planet Earth. Our hyperwave broadcast is extremely weak. Situation critical. Energy cores exhausted. Scanners and deep radar are non-functional. We cannot identify your vessel. Are you the scheduled hierarchy resupply ship? Repeat, are you the resupply vessel? The starship what? Never mind, look. We won't last much longer. Here's our situation. According to our oath of fealty to the Urquan, we must maintain the starbase, but we have no space vessels of our own, and the shield prevents us from contacting Earth, so we're totally dependent on the Urquan supply vessels for everything we need up here. We know there's a hierarchy base on the surface of the moon, but we can't contact them. The Urquan were supposed to resupply the base at regular 5-year intervals, but we haven't received anything in almost 8 years. What we don't recycle, we can usually synthesize, but to do so, we need replacement radioactives for our generator energy cores. If you could bring us some radioactive elements, we can fabricate the cores ourselves. Are you willing to help us?
I can help.
The fastest way to get radioactives in this system would be to land on Mercury and scour the surface for deposits of radioactive elements. But be careful. Mercury's a pretty inhospitable place. Watch out for earthquakes and those high temperature areas.
Fair.
Thanks. I'll make sure to mention this the next time I talk with our masters. I'm sure they will reward you.
Alright, I guess let's get going to Mercury then. Get some radioactive material. Woo woo. What? Slow and steady. There we go. It's like, maybe that's a bit tricky, man. Goodness. Alright. We've arrived at Mercury. Let's do an auto scan. Lots of minerals. No energy signatures. No biologicals. We'll send a lander and get it done. Try to make sure we don't hit any hot spots here while we're doing this. Whoa. Ah, hit some there. Ah, dang it. Let's see if we can get some more of this up here. Nope. Okay. We might be... See if we can pick any of this here. Nope. Nope. Any of this? Nope. Alright, I think we got what we needed then. Exit that. Let's navigate. Let's get back to Earth. And that should be the radioactives and really kind of our first quest. I lost a little bit of crew, it looks like. That sucks.
Did you find any radioactive elements for our power cores? I couldn't quite make it out, Captain. Could you please repeat? I couldn't quite make it out, Captain. Could you please repeat?
We may have to just give them the radioactives.
We're initiating transfer of radioactives, Captain. Now, as soon as our engineers can refit the energy cores, that's much better. Power ratings are climbing. Life support is coming back into the green. Deep radar systems and sensors are now online, and I can scan your vessel. What the hell kind of ship is that? Just who are you, Captain? Star Control science mission, huh? Captain, I served as a Star Control officer during the war aboard several cruisers in the Corward Front. And if there'd been any scientific mission to Vela, I would have heard about it. You know, come to think of it, there were some rumors that Corridor 9, the Special Operations Division of Star Control, was directing some hush-hush operation near Androsynth Space. The Vela star system. Yes, that would be the right direction. So, Captain, if you say it's true, how do you explain that huge alien starship you're flying? And why are you here? What do you want from us? Fight the Urquan. Win back our freedom. I remember having such thoughts myself once, a long time ago. That was in the first years after the defeat, when it was still terrifying to look up and see the bloody glow of the pulsating slave shield overhead. So day and night we gazed up at the impenetrable wall as though the sheer power of our hatred would pull it down. But over the years I spent so much of my time struggling, down on the surface, under the shield, and then later up here trying to keep the station alive, that I'd forgotten what it means to be free, to hate our Urquan masters. And now here you are, in an alien ship of unknown power, offering me your assistance to fight against the hierarchy again after all these years. Captain, your offer is intriguing. It's tempting to think that with your advanced precursor technology, we can somehow crack the Earth's slave shield and reassemble the Alliance to attack the hierarchy. And this time, win the damn war. Consider the consequences if you should fail. The Urquan won't just punish us here on the station. They'll exact a gruesome retribution on the surface below as well. Before I commit this station to helping you attack the Urquan and accepting the risk of annihilation if we are defeated, I have to make sure that you and your ship have what it takes to oppose the hierarchy. I'll make you a deal. If you can eliminate the alien base on the moon and get rid of that threat at least, I will seriously consider your offer. I'll be darned. All these years we've been listening to their incoherent broadcast, and we never even guessed. Captain, listen closely. Long-range sensors show a ship closing on this station fast. Our computer identifies it as Ilrath, Avenger class. I think you've got a fight on your hands, Captain. Your best bet is to wait until you have point-blank range. Captain, it's jamming our signal.
Uh-oh. Guess it's time to fight.
By the fetid breath of the Dark Twin Kazan, a human and an alien starship. How fascinating. When I intercepted that Urquan drone and learned that an unidentified starship had approached Earth, I never expected to find such a remarkable vehicle in the hands of a human. Humans are prey animals, weak and helpless. But here is a human in an armed starship, and therefore in direct violation of the oath of fealty. I am sure our masters, the Urquan, will punish Earth most severely for this treachery when I present them with the twisted wreckage of your ship and your many charred corpses.
I better, fight.
Fool! As alien as your ship may be, our sensors reveal how few weapons you have on board. Though this vessel is undercrewed and our cloak of darkness is non-functional, we still have more than enough power to kill you all.
Doubt that. Guess it's time to see if we can make a quick fight. Haha!
What a beautiful sight, Captain. I
Damn.
haven't seen an Avenger blown away like that since the battle in Draco. I guess you've shown that you can handle yourself in battle, Captain. So my last reservation about helping you has been dissolved. I will commit this station to helping free Earth and defeat the Urquan. We may get our atoms rearranged in the process, but by God, Captain, we're going to try. So the obvious first step is to get the precursor equipment and software over here so that we can make it work with our ship repair fabricators. But then what, Captain?
Plan, really good plan, but it's remain secret.
A sensible plan, Captain. Let's get to work. Good luck. By the way, Captain, I think we need a name for this new alliance we're going to forge. And since it was your idea, it's only fair that you get the honor of naming it. So, what will it be?
What shall be this alliance? The Concordance of Alien Nations.
Very well. From this day forward, we're the Concordance of Alien Nations. Now, Captain, I expect the configuration process for the starbase to take at least 2 weeks, so let's get to work.
Let us get to work.
I have good news to report, Captain. We have successfully integrated the precursor technology from your ship into our fabricator system, and as you can see, we've already begun minor repairs on your ship, patching up some of the micrometeorite holes. We noticed that your ship does not have an emergency warp escape unit, so our engineers rigged up some for you and each of your escorts.
Nice.
Now, you should be able to escape from a bad situation with the touch of a button. But there is a cost, however. The unit gulps up 5 fuel units each time your precursor ship uses it. Also, we now have a limited capacity to make modifications to your ship, to refine starship fuel, to build additional combat ships, and to train new members of your crew for the flagship and any ships you acquire for your fleet. Captain, I know you're eager to get to work, so I'll be brief. If you have any questions how this starbase works, what resources we need, or just some background information on the galaxy, don't hesitate to ask.
I will be asking a lot.
The more minerals you bring us, Captain, the faster we'll be able to tackle the Urquan.
Excellent.
Certainly, Captain. What do you need to know? We can modify your precursor ship, build additional combat vessels, and supply you with fuel and crew.
Just a little bit of everything.
Our engineers and precursor specialists agree with the scientists from your world that your starship was designed to be a workhorse vehicle, which can be easily reconfigured for different missions by adding or swapping self-contained equipment packs, which we call modules. The modules we can build right now are thruster units, which make your ship move faster, attitude jets, which allow you to rotate the ship more quickly, crew pods, which provide life support facilities for up to 50 additional crew members.
Okay.
Storage bays, which increase your ship's cargo capacity for mineral resources.
Okay.
Fuel tanks, which hold an additional 50 units of fuel. Dynamos, which feed energy into your combat energy batteries, improving your weapon's rate of fire.
Okay.
And last but not least, ion bolt guns, combat weaponry, the exact function of which depends on its location aboard the ship. When put in the first or front module slot, it fires a single shot forward. When put in the second slot, it fires 2 shots, spread to the left and right of center. When put in the third slot, it fires 2 shots directly, left and right. And when put in the last or rear slot, it fires a single shot straight backwards.
Okay, so kind of the orientation of that gun goes to... will fire at that orientation. Dude, honestly, I need some of those bad attitude jets, because that rotation was really slow on my ship.
This base is designed to service hierarchy ships. Fortunately, your flagship uses the same stabilized antimatter technology as hierarchy vessels and will be able to synthesize what you need. However, due to the size of your ship, we'll have to produce vast quantities of fuel, which will be a substantial drain on our resources. Our shipyard facilities are sophisticated and fully automated, permitting a handful of Starbase personnel to do the same job as 500 vac-suited construction workers. However, the only designs that we had in our computers were incomplete hierarchy ship designs. Things looked grim until one of the officers came forward with an amazing story. Even though the Urquan destroyed every Earthling cruiser in the fleet nearly 20 years ago, one of my maintenance engineers was a Starship production assistant at the Detroit shipyard. When Earth was conquered, she was ordered to destroy all ship construction databases. But she secretly made copies of the blueprint disc and then kept them with her ever since. These discs contain all the data we need to build as many Earthling cruisers as you want, provided you, Captain, can supply the large amounts of mineral resources required to build those vessels. In theory, Captain, we could build alien starships here if we had designs for them. However, it's a well-known fact that alien vessels just can't be flown in combat without native starship captains at the helm.
I see. So I have to get some crew that are appropriate for the ships.
We have almost 2,000 highly motivated, skilled professionals aboard this starbase, and every single one of them wants a berth aboard your starship. However, each hand we lose to your ship means less manpower here at the starbase,
Yep.
and this is reflected in the crew RU cost. As long as you don't lose too many crew members to combat or planet exploration, the RU cost will remain static. But we have only so many warm bodies on this starbase, and if your needs for crew grow beyond a certain point, the cost could increase dramatically.
I see.
As you know, Captain, we've committed the entire output of this station to building your flagship and your battle fleet into the strongest force possible. However, our resources are very limited, and we feel you must decide how we are to spend our effort and materials. To aid you in making these decisions, we have implemented a resource allocation scheme. We provide you with a numerical assessment of the station's resources and ascribe a cost to each task we can perform and each device we can build. It's up to you to decide how you're going to spend your resource units, or RU as we call them. To acquire more RU, you must bring resources back to the starbase. These resources can be either in the form of mineral ores gathered from planet surfaces or already refined metals and other valuable materials from the wreckage of enemy starships.
Okay.
The most straightforward way you can accumulate resource units is to bring mineral ores back to this starbase. There are probably enough resources in just the nearby dozen stars to build your ship into a powerful battleship or to create a strong task force of combat vessels. I would also recommend that you build several additional storage bays. When gathering minerals, focus on cleaning out one star system at a time. This way you minimize the cost of travel through hyperspace.
Fair. What are planet cylinders away from those features?
While I respect your search for abstract knowledge, frankly, Captain, in our present circumstances, I see little use for such data here. Perhaps you can make use of biological information elsewhere. What else can I tell you? What aspect of history, Captain?
We have so much to go through. Goodness. Tell me about some starfighters.
Which group of aliens? Okay, which race?
There are so many. Let's do it.
The Shofixti are a race of intelligent marsupials who had been civilized for only a few decades when the war began. They were discovered in the Delta Gorno star system by the Yehat, who adopted and then uplifted the Shofixti, giving them advanced technology and cultural definition. Shofixti are noble and fearless warriors, Captain. In addition, their incredible fecundity and rapid maturation rate kept Alliance ranks solid even at the worst part of the war. You know, I once flew as an observer aboard one of their ships on routine patrol. We never saw the enemy, but I could never stop thinking about the glory device it had strapped to the bottom of its hull.
We got the Arilu. There's a bit of a guide here of some of the races.
I'd like to think I'm not a bigoted person, Captain, especially when it comes to allies, but there's just something about those Arilu that gives me the creeps. One thing I'll say for them, though, they possess some technique for moving really fast through hyperspace. They never let us know what it was, but sure beats the pants off our fastest ships. The Yehat are a race of ancient warrior clans that have been traveling the stars for many centuries. Clans are highly competitive and sometimes even wage war on each other, but the clans are all loyal to the Queen and her royal family, known as the Veepzeeps. The Veepzeeps have been in power for over 2,000 years, and it is said that during their rule, the Yehat never lost a battle.
Next on the list.
The Chenjesu were leaders of the Alliance, even though they refused to accept formally the title. I don't know if their silicon-based biology is just plain superior to our old carbon models, or if their fantastic intellect were the product of an ancient, peaceful culture. Whatever the reason, I'd rather be taking orders from a Chenjesu than any other life form, absolutely. One of the more amazing things about them was they never used hyperwave communicators. They could send messages naturally, and their natural hyperwave receptors were much more sensitive than even our best units.
Oh, wow.
We didn't really get much of a chance to learn about those mechanical beings, but I'll tell you what I know. They're the product of a distant, unknown culture who sent a
You
giant
made up
factory
names.
ark into our region of space many
Space
centuries
is
ago.
weird.
Mother Ark, that's what the Earth Press called it, turned out millions of robots and finally broke down. I don't know why the Myrnaherm didn't repair the Mother Ark.
Myrnaherm.
Maybe they can't. My personal guess as to why they were sent here is that they're on the leading edge of a colonization project. And once the Myrnaherm have tamed enough new worlds, the genuine colonists, whoever they are, will arrive and claim their due.
Huh. And the Cyrene. It's them there.
Most raw recruits saw the Siren as nothing more than warm, breathing pinups. Warm they are, and yes, they do breathe most magnificently, but Captain, they are far more than simple joy units. The history shows the Siren established and maintained a peaceful culture from their Bronze Age through their discovery of starflight. Before their planet was destroyed in a horrible cataclysm, their world was an Eden.
It's nothing.
What other group of aliens are you interested in?
Let's go.
Which species?
Yeah, because the hierarchy also has their own collection of species here. Quite a few. The Mycon.
The Mycons are hard to get a handle on. In fact, I'm not sure any human has ever had a real conversation with a Mycon. What we know of them, we've learned from their corpses, which, I may add, have a nasty habit of coming back to life when thawed out from a decompression quick freeze. Mycon ships seem to expend a significant amount of energy on life support. This is probably because the Mycon only thrive in temperatures close to the melting point of lead. As far as we know, the Mycon are the only race to actively seek out the Urquan in order to become combat slaves.
The Mycon appear to be some sort of fungal-like... they're not plant or animal, but they closely resemble and some sort of fungus, mostly. Real nasty stuff. The Spaffy here.
Imagine facing a cowardly, mobile clam armed with a howitzer, and you've got a good idea of what it's like dealing with a Spaffy. Although they tend to avoid battles as much as their masters will allow, once in battle, a Spaffy eluder is one tough cookie. I once heard a rumor, though I don't like to believe in it myself, that a rogue band of courageous Spaffy broke away from the main Starfleet, painted their ships black with bright red stripes, and formed the Black Spaffy Squadron, dedicated to performing brave and hostile deeds. Like I said, I'd have to see it to believe it.
Then the Umga. Yeah, it's... Oh, great.
It's unfortunate that the Umga fell to the Urquan so early in the war, because I suspect we would have gotten along well with those big blob creatures. At the very least, it would have been entertaining. We know them a bit better than most races because they were eager to talk with our ships before, after, and during battle. The Arilu intimated that they had a relationship with the Umga before the Urquan arrived, but I don't know any details.
I wonder if we could bring them over. Androsith. Look like there's a bunch of human clones?
When I was flying combat missions along the Corward front, there was nothing we feared more than the Androsith hit-and-run squadron. Their blazer ships were more than a match for our cruisers, so we stayed clear of Ada Vulpeculae, their home star. In addition, I think each of us aboard the ship knew deep down in our hearts that the Androsith had a damn good reason for hating us. Our grandparents had kept them as slaves for nearly 50 years.
The Neurath. That's kind of what we just fought before, the spider creatures.
I still have nightmares about those spiders taking me prisoner, using me as one of their 6 sacrifices to Dogar and Kazon, their twin gods of destruction and torment. Those guys were almost as scary as the Androsith to those of us in Deep Space Patrol. Their Avenger ships could appear out of nowhere and melt a cruiser down to slag in seconds. Luckily for us, the bulk of the Ilrath fleet was thrown against the Genjesu and the Myrnaherm.
And then the Vux.
The Starship Far Voyager under the command of Captain Jeffrey L. Rand encountered the Vux near Beta Mira. Although the details are hazy, it's generally accepted that Rand offended the Vux starship commander with an inadvertent insult. What other group of aliens are you interested in? None that we had made formal contact with. The Chenjesu implied that they had met two other star-faring species, one near the Gickless constellation and the other directly coreward from Procyon. The Arilu once mentioned having some fun with an alien race in Draconis, but like so much else with the Arilu, they never revealed the whole story. I'm sure there are hundreds more alien races in our galaxy, but beyond what I've told you, your guess is as good as mine.
So lots of opportunity for exploration.
Would you like information on any other aspect of history?
Ancient galactic history.
We have some data on this subject. What do you want to know about? Well, you probably know more about them than I do, but here goes. About 200,000 years ago, when our great to the nth grandparents were just starting to play with stone knives and bearskins, a star-faring species suddenly appeared on the galactic scene and spread like wildfire. We found evidence of their presence just about everywhere, from an orbital platform on Alpha Centauri to a stack of data plates in a cave on Pluto to some nameless widget found in a voodoo shop in New Orleans. And we never found a precursor body or even a picture of one. We can conjecture what they look like by examining the scale and layout of their equipment. Such an analysis indicates they were giants, say 5 to 8 meters tall and twice as wide. I don't know if they looked more like a brontosaur or an elephant. Anyway, about 3,000 years after the precursors made their dramatic appearance, they vanished. Poof. As far as we can tell, it took less than a decade to happen.
Huh.
You mean besides the precursors? Well, the only information we have is secondhand based on some research by a Chenjesu historian that I read at the Academy. Zensert-Sek, the historian, found some evidence that there was a group of alien races who formed an interstellar empire not too far from here about 22,000 years ago. The only species in this empire who actually lived in our region of space was a race of rock-like creatures who lived in the Vulpeculae constellation. The presence of the hostile androsynth in that part of space severely limited Zensert-Sek's research. He never even found out the race's name. Yes, there is. Aside from the precursor relics we have found on Earth, often in museums mislabeled as modern art, we've discovered disturbing evidence of much more recent visitations. Perhaps you're already aware that during the mid to late 20th century, there were unaccountable UFO sightings as well as dozens of reported encounters with alien life forms. Although we can discount many of the reports as wishful fabrication or traumatic translation, the military authorities of the time kept a secret record of the incidents which were legitimate. In each such case, the aliens are almost identical in appearance. They have white skin and minimal facial features except for huge almond-shaped eyes, which are often described as glowing or luminescent. This description fits almost perfectly the Arilu Lalile. In most of the legitimate encounters, the people involved describe being physically examined or modified by the aliens. In some cases, unusual pregnancies occurred, and in almost every instance, there were repeat visitations as though the Arilu Lalile were doing checkups on their subjects. We never got the chance to confront the Arilu Lalile about what they did to us and why. I wonder if we ever will. Would you like information on any other aspect of history? What about the war?
All right, let's learn about the war, folks.
Earth got involved late in the game in 2112 when the Chenjesu arrived in our solar system for the first time. So let's back up a few years to 2098 when the Chenjesu super-sensitive receivers detected a strange signal from the Ophiuchi constellation. Though even the Chenjesu didn't know it, it was the first sign of the Urquan's arrival. The Urquan, having detected the presence of many sentient species, were beaming out an exulting hunting cry. First direct evidence of the Urquan's intent was the sudden conquest of the Umga, a solitary though not unfriendly species in the Orionis constellation. Chenjesu, distraught by the invasion, were further angered when the Urquan turned their fleets on the hostile but weak Ilrath race. A hastily assembled defense force of Myrna Hermann Shenjesu vessels turned the Urquan fleet aside, but the invader moved into Spathi space, rapidly subjugating that race. With each new conquest, the Urquan fleet grew larger as it added slave vessels to its ranks. Earth joined the Shenjesu to form the Alliance of Free Stars at about the same time as the Androsynth stars fell to the Urquan Armada. Before the ink was dry on our agreement with the Shenjesu in 2116, a new race appeared in orbit around the moon and asked for admittance to the Alliance. It was the Arilu Lalile. Timing seemed unusual, and the Arilu were definitely weird, looking like saucer men from Mars, but we were too busy cranking up our mothballed heavy industry that we really didn't pay it much attention at the time.
I see.
At the start of the war, here on Earth, we were working like crazy, churning out hundreds of heavy cruisers and smaller support vehicles. The Urquan were busy too. Unbeknownst to us, they had moved down towards the Luton Star Group and were attacking the Vux, who only the Yehak knew existed. Our botched first contact with the Vux took place in 2119, and it was the biggest single mistake we made during the war. After defeating the Vux, the Urquan fleet ran smack into the combined might of the Yehak and Shofixti, supported by the first wave of our cruisers. Again, the Urquan turned away from the hard spot to attack the weak, though we just thought they were running away. In fact, the Urquan had found another independent alien race, the Mycon, in the Brahi constellation. The Mycon's voluntary submission to the Urquan brought the return of the Urquan fleets, now swollen with 100 devastating Mycon pod ships. The last entrants to the conflict were the Cyrene, a race of space gypsies who had escaped the hierarchy by moving their vast fleet of slow-moving habitats into human space. With the side set, the last Urquan offensive began. The Urquan came roaring through Vux space and tried to push past the India and Mira star systems. Their onslaught was barely repulsed, and our counterattack made hardly a dent in the hierarchy forces, but we held the line. The coreward front remained intact. Over the following 10 years, there were many great battles between the combined Alliance Starfleet and the Urquan and their hierarchy of battle thralls. Then in 2134, a dramatic shift in the balance of power took place. This must have been about the time the science research mission was sent to the planet of Vela. Our fleets were pushed back from the Indy-Mira line beyond Raynet. Holding Rigel caused grievously in Shenjesu forces, and the Urquan, recognizing this weakness, shifted to focus the brunt of their forces on Procyon. That was the last we heard from the Shenjesu and the Myrna Hermann. A few weeks later, waves of ships hit us from all directions. When Ceres Station, our outpost on the asteroid belt, fell to the hierarchy, we knew we were beaten, but we fought on anyway. 3 days later, the Urquan vaporized our last remaining laser forts on the moon, and the dreadnoughts took up geosynchronous position above Rome, Moscow, Beijing, Tokyo, London, Buenos Aires, and Washington. We'd lost the war, and we knew it. But the Urquan decided to make it real clear. And that's why if you check any of our most recent maps, you won't find Buenos Aires.
Jeez. Taking off a city like that.
After the UN submitted their formal surrender, we were given a week to decide the nature of our servitude. The Urquan demanded that the decision be made through popular vote. When all the votes were tallied, Earth had chosen not to fight for the Urquan. We had become a fallow slave world. We were given a month to withdraw all of our people and equipment to Earth. Anyone or anything left off-planet would be destroyed after the shield went up. Then the Urquan broadcast an odd message. All objects of human construction more than 500 years old were to be abandoned. We didn't know what the Urquan meant until they moved their dreadnoughts into new orbital positions and opened fire on the surface with their fusion weapons. In seconds, large sections of London, Paris, and other European cities were incinerated. At first, we thought they were going to annihilate us after all. And we noticed they were also striking such targets as the Giza Pyramids, the Parthenon in Athens, and Stonehenge.
Destroying our culture?
Curiously, the United States was almost untouched. The flaming rain lasted 40 hellish hours. It took days after we crawled from our smoldering shelters to realize what the Urquan had done. Our new masters had targeted every building, monument, or other man-made construction older than 500 years and destroyed it. In those 2 days, we lost most of the history of mankind. In some cases, the Urquan destroyed places we did not even suspect were significant. From their positions in orbit, the dreadnoughts blew away a kilometer of land in central Iraq, vaporized several targets in the Amazon rainforest, punched a big hole through the Antarctic ice cap to destroy something deep under the surface, and melted a broad swath of the ocean floor in the southeastern Atlantic. Then, just a couple of days later, the shield went up, and our contact with the outside world stopped. The next time I saw the stars was 8 years ago, when I was transferred up here to be the new commander of this starbase.
I wonder if all those were like relics that weren't only historic for man, but perhaps other instances of possible alien contact.
Would you like any information on any other aspect of history? Sure. Anything else? Can you be more specific? If you have the patience, I would recommend you spend several months or even a year gathering mineral resources. You can find such minerals on almost any planet's surface, but the quality and density will vary depending upon the type of planet you're on. Base metals are probably the most common materials you'll find, but they aren't particularly valuable. You can find rarer precious and radioactive elements on metal-rich worlds such as Mercury. An old miner once told me that you could tell the relative quality of a planet's minerals based on the planet's color as seen from space. Remember the color sequence from good to bad? The miner had a mnemonic that went something like, very young orangutan could grow bananas perhaps rather well. It is also the case that mineral yields will be better at hotter stars. Temperature is related to the size and color of a star. Red stars are the coolest, then orange, yellow, green, blue, and the hottest stars are white.
See.
That all depends on whom you meet, doesn't it, Captain? Well, in all seriousness, if you encounter the Ilrath, Bucks, Androsynth, or other hierarchy battle thralls, I wouldn't hold out much hope for a peaceful encounter. So if you feel you have the advantage, attack. The resources you will scavenge from the enemy's wreckage are well worth the effort. If you can find alliance races who are in a position to help us, then you must convince them to join with us. Their assistance may be crucial to our success. Let's see. You need to build up and balance the strength of your flagship. I would add thrusters up to, say, 5 or 6. Speed is essential in combat, but it would also pay off over the long haul in hyperspace. And if you prefer to avoid confrontation, nothing beats a great pair of legs. I would add turning jets for increased maneuverability. I would add enough weapons to defend yourself if you're caught without escort ships. You need more crew, at least 50 to make productive voyages into space. You need additional fuel, at least 50 units. Your weapons will be underpowered in combat if you don't have at least one dynamo. I guess I'd gather more minerals to build up a good supply of resource units.
I guess in this case it's going to be upgrade the ship, and then we start building our fleet.
Captain, I wish I had an easy answer, but I don't. The only way I can see of liberating Earth as well as the Alliance allies is to destroy the Urquan and their armada of battle thralls entirely. To defeat our enemies, we will need awesome strength, both in your flagship and the fleet, as well as the assistance of powerful new allies. Though combat will be unavoidable and sometimes necessary to achieve our goals, I'm certain your wits will be at least as important as your weapons. You'll need to explore this region of space, gathering resources and information wherever you go.
Understood. Man, they just loaded up with more topics, didn't they?
I don't know, Captain, but I suspect their battle thralls know more than we do, so I suggest you try to gather information from them, perhaps by force. At first, your ship will be far too vulnerable to permit frontal assaults on the Urquan. Even when your ship is at full power, we're faced with the reality that the hierarchy has thousands of ships. You cannot win the fight alone, Captain. You need allies. Also, towards the end of the war, when the hierarchy broke through the Corward front, we heard rumors that the Urquan had unleashed some kind of super weapon which was unstoppable by normal means. You need to find out if that rumor was true, Captain, because if the Urquan do have such a weapon, we'll have to find some way to stop it, or all our efforts are for naught.
Do they have a Death Star? Is that what this is going to turn into?
If you encounter an unknown alien race, proceed carefully and diplomatically. We need all the friends we can get, and we certainly can't afford any more enemies. Remember, Captain, with your precursor starship, you hold awesome power. But there will be situations when dealing with an alien race where a carrot will serve better than a stick. But first, you must determine what carrot the alien wants.
Right.
You need to accumulate enough resources so we can build up your flagship and assemble a strong fleet. I'd also recommend that you acquire blueprints for other more powerful ships than our trusty cruiser. I suspect that aliens will not give you such prints unless you form an alliance with them. What else can we discuss? What else can I tell you? Fine. Is there anything else you need? Farewell, Captain.
We got some lore.
Yes, Captain?
I
Be careful out there, Captain.
will do. Oh, we got our setting dump. That's not a bad thing. Fuel, modules, games. Tank crew pod. Got a storage bay there. That's our gun. That's our lander. Got some antimatter thrusters. That's our turning jets. Let's go with another storage bay. So thrusters there. Do another fuel tank. Let me do a fuel tank here. Okay. Alright, we can got some more storage. We got more fuel. Save. Saved. Exit. Shipyard. We can do another cruiser. Okay. Okay, we can like just add more cruisers. Got it. Okay. Let's depart the starbase. Guess we continue on. I have like nothing for my crew, so I need to fix that first. Let's see what Venus gets us. Let's give us an auto scan. Got some minerals. No energy signatures. No biologicals. Okay, so let's just get some minerals. Holy crap. That place is jacked up. Oh god. Venus sucks. Good to know. Let's go back, see if we get something from the moon. Maybe we can get some more crew. Venus was the worst. It's like, here's all the lightning and fire. I thought Mercury was bad. Venus is bad. It's one mineral scan. Okay. Let's go somewhere else. Shit, no kidding. Venus is just a freaking death trap. Let's even get to Mars. Hopefully that is also not a death trap. Oof, really? Scan it all. Lots of minerals. No energy. No biologicals. Let's see what happens when we land. It's not horrible here. At least it won't destroy my whole crew. And I assume the moon, because like all those robots moving around, it kind of acts like a way of, how would you say it? Kind of replenishing resources over time, because there's constantly those robots sort of pushing around stuff. Let's check out one of Saturn's moons. Minerals? Nothing energy-wise. Nothing biological-wise. Let's see what happens. I land here, hopefully it's not too terrible. Ugh. Enough of this electricity crap. I'm full. Alright, full on stuff, I guess. Let's get back to the doodad. Yeah, Venus is a hellhole. Never, ever go to Venus. Maybe Earth will have some stuff at some point.
Ah, Captain, I'm glad you're back. Light load this time, Captain.
Yeah, I know.
Try to avoid getting gruesomely killed, Captain.
Thank you. Should I go back from radioactives? I guess we'll just go further. Light load this time, Captain. Mayman. See what Saturn proper has. I guess I can't do anything on Saturn. Wow, okay. Moving on. I thought Saturn had more moons too. Apparently not. That's okay. Let's try Neptune. Maybe Neptune will be kinder to us. Got some minerals. No energy signatures. No biologicals. A little bit of lightning going on there. I think we can make do though. I think we'll be fine. Right? Titanium, potassium. Potassium and then arsenic. See what Neptune has. Can I even go to the planet? Nothing. Okay. Carrying on. Let's try Uranus. I can try some of Jupiter's moons in a bit. At least I have fuel to work with. I guess the main plants I can't really do much with right now. Okay. Man, it uses up a lot of fuel. That's where it came from. That's hyperspace, man. That looks crazy. We got lots of minerals. No energy signatures and nothing living on it. This might be a hellish landscape, but we're going to find out, aren't we? Yep. There goes all my crew. What do I do now? Guess I quit. Oh. Some of those plants are rough, dude. Holy cow. They ain't kidding ya.
In the 90s, we're discovering revolutionary truths about our inner self.
Is this a Crystal Dynamics ad? What?
Nature is the source of my strength. I just want to be loved.
I think with the hell planets, there are certain stats in the scans that tell you what's what.
Man, this blows.
While we have the Crystal Dynamics ad going, let me look that up. So that's the scans themselves. And we get, in terms of data for scans, you get the planet type, it's a general description. You get the orbital radius, which is the distance from its primary star. You get atmospheric pressure. You get the temperature, which is in degrees centigrade. You get a classification of the weather, one being the mildest, and then it goes up from there. So I assume very harsh weather is going to be something that's going to be like that. Tectonics, the frequency of seismic shocks. You have the mass of the planet itself. You have the radius of the planet or moon or what have you. You have the gravity, which the gravity determines the cost of fuel to land on the planet and lift off from it. I think just land on it, maybe. Axial tilt. The greater the tilt, the greater the seasonal differences. And the length of day, one revolution of the planet on about its axis. And it has different types of planets and sort of what to expect from them. And you have specific scans, which the biological scan tells you if there's life. So you look at large creatures. Apparently large creatures are fairly interesting.
Geez, what a bunch of tools.
See, that's a Crystal Dynamics ad. Pretty neat. The mineral scan, you have different colors that kind of tell you a classification going from common all the way to exotics. And there's a numeric value attached to those. I assume that's going to be what plays into your points you have for your starbase. Like common minerals are only worth 1, while going up all the way up to exotics are worth 25. So, for instance, radioactives are the second most valuable at a value of 8. So exotics are super, super valuable. Energy scan locates power being generated on the surface, providing the generator is not shielded or otherwise concealed, which is a thing. And then you do the auto scan, which shows you all things at once.
It is the year 2155.
And it goes through some things about exploring the surface.
Travel between the stars. Following the sad lessons of the Little War, a unified Earth.
Yeah, so
Golden peace and prosperity.
that is
Glorious dream, dashed by the arrival of a hostile armada. Earth and her partners in the alliance of free stars.
you
faced
must
monstrous
very much
assets.
pay attention to what the scans of the planet are.
The predatory
That is, yeah.
and its hierarchy of battle thralls.
I think I might have to do a little more reading in this here to get a handle on what to think about. But on the whole, at least in terms of mineral gathering, one does not simply just jump onto a planet. You are going to get destroyed, otherwise lose your crew and everything else, and it's just bad, bad, bad. Really cool game, though. I mean, without a doubt, there's some excitement and some punishment to this. Ugh. But I think I might call it early here tonight, because I kind of want to get started on this. Again, some context before I jump into the manual. I do need to read up on a couple things in the manual just to figure out what does what. Probably, I might even start the save again, because I did spend a lot of money on modules that maybe wasn't the smartest way of doing it. I'm not sure yet. Certainly, not having a lot of crew didn't help. I don't know yet, though. Yeah. Well, I'll still continue with this save next time, but yeah, just I want to get an initial look here tonight at Star Control 2 to get started in the game. I will be continuing this. It's really interesting, and the lore is really cool. I really love the setting of it. But it doesn't seem to pull any punches, which is a good thing. I assume once you start building up a little bit of buffer of resources and ships and stuff, it becomes a lot easier to really start doing things in this game. And yeah, it'd be very rewarding. But that's going to be the initial push, is to build some stuff up, get some resources, and don't get in too many fights right now. Because, yeah. There are also hints in the manual here, which tells you where the location of the most mineral-rich planets, the most life-rich planets, all the alien homeworlds, and all of that. So if I really get stuck in this, I do have the hint book in the back of the manual. I don't intend on really using that, though, just because a lot of the fun I see in this game is going to be using my star map here, using clues from talking to folks to figure out what's where and discover some of these homeworlds. That exploration part's probably the most exciting bit to me about Star Control 2. Just the idea of sort of uncovering all these secrets in space, rediscovering races, and sort of, rediscovering all kinds of really cool things in space, more or less. And the star map itself, again, it's a hyperspace star map. So I think it's a bit of a map of when you traverse hyperspace, but not really telling you much else. There are some coordinates involved here, so that might help me down the road. It's more or less a reference of, like I said, star maps. It's a reference of stars in terms of size and color, and then in terms of constellations, what they're shaped like, so I know how to navigate hyperspace and more or less know where I'm at that time and start mapping things out. So this will be really cool to use. Yeah. We got ourselves a crunchy exploration game to get into, boys and girls, and it's going to be pretty fun. I'm excited. But yeah, I'm going to call it here for now, so I can prep up on the manual a little bit, not do that on stream, and pick up with this later this week. I think I might stick with doing streams at 9 o'clock my time, just to give myself a little more time at night to do it. And probably go to 2 days a week right now, just so I can do more things during the week, exercise, things like that. We'll see how that works out, but always figuring things out for NFGL Live. But anyway, thanks for watching. We'll get back to more later, and more of this wonderful 90s ad stuff. Thank you, Crystal Dynamics, and thank you guys for joining. I appreciate it. I think we're going to enjoy this one. I think this is going to be a really good long-term game, and I am very curious about how many hours we're going to pump into this, because I don't feel a serious ticking clock right now in this. So I think it's going to give me, once I start getting resources, it's going to give me some time to really explore, find things, find resources, build up forces I want to, start identifying things, and then just give them the onions, right? So for those of you watching, thank you for watching. It's a bit of a short feeling out stream, a lot of lore discovered, but just getting introduced to Star Control 2 and the world it's offering. And give me some things to think about. And then as we go in, we're going to start talking about our space adventures, man. It's going to be slick. So, thank you so much. See you guys later. Have a good one. Play games.
Following the sad lessons of the Little War, a unified Earth knew a century of golden peace and prosperity.